find you very rude.
The Novympia channel is made possible by our gorgeous patrons who get access to the most unappealing crap you'll find anywhere on the whole internet.
Cue the snafu!
It's a new day.
Hit me with your best, Len. Leonard, it's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life.
Do you think anyone's buying the fact that this is 2 weeks on?
I don't know why you have to bring it up. You just don't get the sort of smoke and mirrors and magic of the industry, do you?
Is that what this is?
don't
Are we
bring
part
up-
of the industry?
We're in some sort of industry. We've got to be.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Absolute Agony with you girls. My name is Nova.
And I'm Olympia. Nova, very, very quick to get in there with introducing us. She scolded
I think
me.
that's how it should be. I think that's a good...
Publicly.
We could just do that at the beginning. That's a good routine to get into.
Publicly scolded me like a child.
I'll do it again.
No, you will not do it again. We're ladies of the internet, aren't we? Are we? Sort of. We're also in the industry. And
Women in STEM.
Women in STEM, yeah.
Yes.
So we are here again to answer your problems, to give you sage advice with not nigh a credential to do so.
Yes, like always, we try to answer these questions to the best of our ability based on our own lived experiences. But if you ever find that things are getting a little bit intense, you're a bit overwhelmed, stuff is actually a bit serious, don't come to us for advice. Go seek professional help.
This should not be construed as actual legal advice because we can't give you that.
No.
And what does it say on? Do you know on like air fresheners?
Results may vary.
Yeah, colours may come out in the wash. There's an on air fresheners. Have you ever read the back of an air freshener?
No.
Where it says like should not be used in place of real hygiene practices.
Are people using
spraying
air freshener to
themselves?
disinfect stuff?
I always think about that because like what is happening where someone's had to write that down?
I think it's like people are like, oh, I don't need to clean this room. I'll just spray it with air freshener.
No, I think people are using it as perfume or something.
Well, perfume is not hygiene.
Yeah, but they're obviously using it to cover up the fact that they're dirty getters. I don't know. Anyway, that's a story for another day, isn't it? We've got 4 new Leonards on the programme. Do you ever check that they're not the same people with just more problems?
No.
Okay, so these could be the same Leonard. This could be one person, couldn't it? Every episode.
One person with a really, really fucked up life.
Having a really difficult time of it. And we're sorry, Leonard. Is there a theme for today?
There is.
What is it?
Family.
Family.
Yes.
So talk about my family.
Where did that come from?
That was Kerry, didn't she say that? Wasn't Kerry? Talk about my
don't
family.
know. Yeah, that sounds right.
That's about so okay.
We've got very different families.
Family life. I don't know that we've got enough time.
As queer people, we can choose our family.
Choose the people we're around. I don't think we've got enough time on the podcast to talk about your family.
We can
They're a
do
state.
a few quick facts.
Go on, fire some off.
I don't really have any extended family, certainly not extended family that I speak to very much.
Care about.
So my immediate family are my 2 parents that are still married. And I've got 2 younger sisters. The middle sister, Rachel, has just recently been married to her wife.
To a woman.
And I have some contact with an aunt on my dad's side. But other than that, all my grandparents have passed and I don't have any extended family they're all estranged from us. So my family is very small and they are insane.
Yeah, they're quite nutty, aren't they, your family?
Yeah.
Your father is South African.
Yes.
And it's not like, I don't know if it's canon, I don't know if you can say, but it informs a large part of the character of Dieter Janks.
Which he loves, by the way.
He loves it. And he's very, very dry, very, very funny, a little bit bitchy, which is hysterical. Yeah. And so I always did his accent to him, didn't I? I used to love doing his accent, obviously. And so that's kind of where Dieter came from. And my family on the other side of it is immense and sprawling.
Yeah. Oh, should also say that very supportive family.
Very supportive, lovely.
Should also add that, like my immediate family.
Very progressive, vegan. You have vegan parents, very progressive, very pro everything and against everything.
2 out of 3 kids queer, so...
Yeah, they're doing well. They were furious they couldn't get the full set. My parents they keep to themselves, very quiet, very private. they're not, certainly would never entertain the idea of veganism. They would laugh in your face. I have one older brother. Again, he's an electrician, keeps to themselves. They like their creature comforts. They're very they're just sort of standard citizens of the United Kingdom. Oh, it's a nice way of saying it. I stick out like a sore thumb. I don't know what that's about. Very, very different. But my mother has maybe 6 siblings or 5, which has resulted in overall I have about 30 cousins. There's so many people all over the place. Some of them are great, some of them are dreadful.
I have 2 cousins, but they're part of extended family that we do not talk to.
Everyone usually has someone in jail at some point, right? Do you have anyone who's been in jail?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we have.
One of the cousins.
Yeah, usually that's the deal. Someone's in jail. I always have a surprisingly gay family. There's a lot of gays.
Interesting.
I think the majority of my mother's siblings has a gay child. There's a lot of us. Something in the water. I think, from a sort of science point of view, our family would be good to look at.
Well, I guess just the larger the family, the more numbers of queers
chance,
there's going to be.
I suppose, would be the case. And I am certain there are some who are not quite out yet, but interesting. We haven't got to talk about that. My mother will never see this. It doesn't matter.
So like with most things, we've got quite different experiences family-wise.
Yes, but then I suppose, yes and no. You don't have any family to see. I just don't see a lot of mine. So we don't end up really seeing any family that often, do we? Apart from like parents.
Yeah.
We'll see our parents, but other than that...
We're very lucky that both our parents are still together. They're still around.
Yeah.
So we're very lucky to have that.
I'll see some cousins occasionally. There's quite a few. I have some in America who we don't get to see as often as I'd like. But sort of certainly around the big times of year, we might see some family members. Grandparents, I have 2 grandparents remaining. One who doesn't live that far away. And then one... Well, actually, they both sort of live not far away. One who used to be quite homophobic, quite bigoted, who apparently is on a bit of a journey of self-discovery. And is now not the case at all. I have seen him since, and he was very, very nice. So that's you're never too late to learn, are you? But yeah, interesting. I wonder how much we'll have to pull on for this.
Families can be so stressful. You
Very.
You can't choose your family. I am always of the opinion, though, and if my family are watching this,
go on.
I just feel like there's no such thing as unconditional love just because they're family.
Just because they're family,
you do something really evil and really fucked up, I'm not going to stay in that position just because I was born into be related to you. That's never happened before. But
it hasn't.
I'm just saying, because I think a lot of people hold on to really toxic familial relationships when they could just walk away.
Because they think that they have to. Yeah. They don't really know that they can. I mean, there are certainly people at like a family function who I would not speak to at all.
I wonder if any of that's going to come into some of the letters today. If we're going to be giving advice.
If it's about family, there must be some...
Leave them alone.
Get out.
Go away.
Don't talk to them. That's such an important thing, is you can nurture relationships and you can work at them. But ultimately, just because you're related, you don't have to like someone. You don't have to be in their life. Hard, maybe very, very difficult to break off. But maybe that's... I'm sure in at least one of these cases, maybe that's going to be
possibly
the advice we give. Other than that, we haven't got squat to offer in this arena. Not like when it comes to like sex and being really cool. I don't know. Anything else you'd like to add before our first Leonard?
I don't think so.
Families.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. We've chosen not to have a family.
We have chosen not to have a family.
Apart from the kids. The cats.
The cats.
Which we call the kids.
Referred to as the kids.
The kids. And, some people get so... There are some people, and you might not know this is you, if you have a child, there's going to be so many people listening who are just about to roll their eyes and be like, yes, oh my God, yes. Some people with kids who think that they're the only people who have ever had children. They do it better than anyone else. And... they want everyone else to know how difficult and how exhausting and how amazing they are at it. And if you call your cats your kids, they will shoot that down. They're not really kids though, are they? Because I have real human children.
Wow.
And
That's your own stupidity.
it's your own fucking fault, Barb. That sounds like a you problem, Sylv.
That sounds like jealousy.
Yeah, but we're not going to have kids. And we don't know many people with kids. Certainly no.
We have one set of friends that have a 1-year-old.
1-year-old who's very nice 1-year-old because he's never
Yes.
been around us and cried. Lovely.
That's true.
We
Yeah.
get to be the cool
He's
gay
never
uncles.
thrown up on us.
Never shat
Thrown
himself.
up on his dad in front of us.
I don't care about the dad.
Yeah,
but we
not
only
shat
have...
himself in our presence either.
And my cousin has a little girl who is adorable.
Yes.
And has now got to
How old is she now?
Don't put me on the spot. She must be at least 4.
I think she's older than that.
Well, the thing is, I met her when she was a baby. We also saw her a couple of times when she was super young. And now she can talk, she can have a conversation. And adorable. Do you remember we went around at Christmas? Because in small bursts, children are fine. Let's be frank. Like, it's not the end of the world.
Small bursts where you are aware of the exits.
Yeah, and maybe have a little drink to hand. But I sat with her and we did some colouring, didn't we? And we coloured in Moana. And I'm such an airhead. Because I was like, oh, Moana's like lovely skirt or something. Or what's a better example? Like, should we colour in the sea or something? And there's me looking for like a blue crayon. And she hands me like a pink one. And she's like, there you go. And I'm like, yeah. You know what? We can. Let's think outside the box. Why not a pink ocean? Well, why not? Well, why not? So I think of the children that we have around us, we're lucky because there's not many of them, first of all.
No.
And second of all, they are perfectly sweet and nice.
Because as a general rule,
Children
do not care for children.
Nightmarish, aren't
Do
they?
not care for them. Which is why I always find it amusing that right-wing people are always so obsessed about the gays and the drag queens going after the children. Keep them away from me. I don't want
Weirdly
anything
enough,
to do with them.
And I think, I do think that drag queens who do like reading story hour, children's story hour at the library or whatever, Godspeed to them, because they are rare. Because I don't know that you'll come across many drag queens in general who want to be around a child.
Yeah.
That's so dicey.
They're often,
They're
from
going to
what
pull in
I've
your
seen,
hair, pull in your
they're
earrings.
often people that have children of their own.
Yes. And it's lovely. I think it's lovely. I don't
Yes.
know what child is not going to benefit from, first of all, having a lovely story read to them, but by this really colourful, kind of magical looking,
It's no different
fantastical
to
creature.
cis women dressing up as princesses and reading
Let's be
or
honest.
clowns.
It's
reading.
no different than going to the panto, which has
Yeah.
always had a fucking drag queen in it. But of course now it's like, although the conversation does seem to have died off a bit, thankfully.
I just feel like there's so much else going on in the world now, so...
There's a lot, but people are very, very fucking stupid.
Yes.
Let's have the first Leonard.
Okay. Okay. Hello, my absolute darlings. Oh,
Hi,
that's
Len.
nice. My biggest life problem at the moment is this. I've been living in Oregon State for the past decade, and I absolutely love it here, even though the cost of living is pretty high. I mean, it is in most of the world at the moment.
Okay.
I've recently made the tough decision to move back home to take care of my aging parents. The issue is that the area they live in is so boring and filled with conservative idiots who hate anyone who's not a straight cis white man. I'm asexual and my entire family and their friends have been trying to marry me off for years, and I'm not ready to deal with all their bullshit shenanigans all over again. I don't feel I fit in, and I would love to move my parents out here, but it's not a feasible option right now. The anxiety is indeed absolute agony. I love you both
Wink.
so much, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for being one of my best aspects of life. Love always.
I don't know if we've ever been described as one of someone's best aspects of their life. I mean, you cannot.
I mean, I expect that there's a lot of people that feel that way.
Nova, the hubris. You can't pay for press like that, can you? Bottom line, I'm room and board. That's lovely. Thank you for that. That's a
very,
very,
very
very sweet and kind thing
word.
to say. It does not go over our heads. And I've immediately forgotten. What was the point they were making?
That you were making.
No, them.
Oh, okay. So they love where they live, but they're having to move closer to family. It doesn't say where. I think that. So I don't know how
That
far
would be
away
good
this
to know
is.
where it is. And they can't move their parents to them. Mm-hmm. And they have trouble with their family and the town in general because it's conservative and awful, and their family disregard their sexuality, I suppose.
I think first and foremost, and this is easier said than done, but just remind yourself that this is not permanent. This situation is not permanent. like, you are not going to be here for the rest of your life. You are doing something for your parents that you love.
Yeah.
And if you didn't do this, it sounds like you would regret it. This sounds like the right thing to be doing in this time, and you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
So just remember that.
Oh, that was it?
Oh, I thought you were going to say something.
No, I thought you were going to carry on.
Oh.
Well, but also, I mean, now this is the thing that we were talking about in terms of not necessarily cutting out. I mean, maybe that is the thing that needs to happen here, but like family members who say awful shit or who you don't get on with and you don't like. It's so easy for us to sit here and say, well, tell them to fuck off or tell them to do whatever. But there's a lot of power in letting a family member know that they are not shit to you. You might be related, but they're unwarranted. Oh, we've got to try and marry you off. You've got to do this. Oh, you just haven't found the right person. I think if you're now in the position where you're taking care of your parents and you're really the adult, feel free to just be like, that isn't going to work. You need to stop fucking saying that. But
I would speak to your parents and put that on them a little bit and just say, so-and-so, this relative or this friend keeps making comments. I've told you guys, you know what my deal is, and this isn't happening. And if I'm going to be... Because you need to know, if you're now going to be a more semi-permanent fixture in this place with these people, seeing them more often, this can't carry on. And
especially
you're an adult now. You are an adult. You're a grown-up.
Caregiver, right? They're going to be a caregiver.
So I would say to them, this person is making me feel uncomfortable. So they're your friend. Have a word with them. Because if it doesn't carry on, I can't stay here.
But also, can't you call the shots a bit more? So if you're...
Well, that's what I'm saying. Take control of it.
If you're looking at... Okay, just rewind a bit. Why are they moving to their parents' hometown?
Because to take care of their aging parents.
Okay, so you're really calling the shots here. If you are in a situation where someone's like, oh, we're going to come over and see them, you can be like, no, you're not coming. We need to do this. We need to do that. Put your foot down and protect your own serenity before someone else's, because you're now responsible for them as well. So don't feel bad about telling people, no, you're not coming. No, you're not doing that. And putting your foot down a little bit. And again, if that's not the kind of person you are, and a lot of us aren't like that. We aren't confrontational. Mm-hmm. We don't like doing shit like that. And it's tricky. But I feel like if you just try it, if you just maybe say no a bit more, trying to say no a bit more, is that there's a lot of power in saying no. It might then give you the kind of maybe respect. They might respect you a bit more where that's been failing a bit thus far. It might spill over into other areas where they then won't say something stupid like, oh, we've got to find someone to marry you off to. Fuck off, Jenny.
Yeah, I think if that happens more than once, I think a reminder like,
they'll
no,
get it.
Be firm.
They'll get it.
Be firm.
Yeah. In terms of the other stuff,
the fact that you don't like this place, again, it's hard to know because we don't know how far it is. But I think try and schedule in regular visits back to Oregon, see your friends, even if it's just like for a weekend, once a month or once every other month.
Because if it's like Florida, you're screwed because it's the other side of the country.
Well, then try to organise birthdays or like events to look forward to in the calendar. I think don't lose touch with all the people.
Ooh, right. Apologies. That's my grandmother. How weird is that?
Right.
I messaged her like a week ago about her birthday and she's only just got back to me.
Make sure you don't lose everything you've built up at home, and make sure, because it's going to be waiting for you there when you move back, because you're not going to be here forever.
That's hard, isn't it? Because you moved around a lot, didn't you, when you were younger?
Yes.
Because I definitely have like a hometown where I lived from the age of about 5.
Yeah, see, I don't feel like that at all.
To the age of 18. So most of my life I lived in this one town. And then my parents aren't there now, but if I was to move back there, there would be no one that I would know. So I would find it difficult because it's like, well, what do? You don't want to be stuck in the house all the time.
But you were a child. That's different. You grew up there. You didn't leave there as an adult.
I did leave. What are you saying?
Like, you grew up there. That's your hometown. You didn't leave there as an adult.
I didn't leave there as an adult. I left when I was an adult.
You left when you were 18.
That's an adult.
That doesn't count.
Well,
that's not what I'm talking about.
But the point I'm trying to make is going back to your hometown is difficult for a lot of people because that's the absolute antithesis of what your goal is in life, which is to leave your tiny hometown. Everyone wants to get out and go find their people and their crowd and their town and stuff. So that is hard. There's no getting around the fact that that might be boring for a while. It might be really awful, especially if you're saying it's a really conservative town. Maybe it is Florida.
Maybe.
I'm going to guess it's Florida. A lot of old people live in Florida. It's very conservative.
Yeah.
It would be tricky because it's the other side of the country from Oregon, if my geography is correct. So there's no real way around that. You just need to try and have a plan in place for maintaining a bit of mental serenity. Is there some sort of online situation
I was going to say,
can
get on the internet.
tap into? Is there a community online? Is there somewhere where you can always go to it and it doesn't require traveling? Try and have some sort of stuff in place.
Even though it may be full of conservative idiots, as you've said, your tribe will still be there somewhere.
Somewhere
they will be there.
Even in Florida.
Yeah.
We went to, where did we go? Southern Nights. Is that what it was called? That was a gay bar, wasn't it? Southern Nights. There are people there. That's just kind of a bit of an eye roll, or how annoying. But that will probably level itself out. It's really the family thing that you've got to be careful with.
Yeah, I feel like everything else will sort itself out. You've not said what you do for work, but I do think that you'll pull through, because this is less than ideal, but I do think you'll pull through, knowing as well that one day you'll be able to go back and do what you want. It's temporary.
It's only geography, doll. It's only geography.
But I think if you are going to be making this work, people do need to respect you. You need to make sure they're respecting you. I think put your foot down.
The power of saying no to someone is very, because it's so easy. I don't think you ever really lose that sense of like listening to what your parents say or like trying to please your parents.
It's difficult as well if these are people that have seen you since you were a child, and they'll probably always see you that way.
You will
so
always
it's
be.
going to take some time to try and show them that actually that was like 20 years ago. I'm an adult now. Stop speaking to me like that.
Yeah. Especially if there's a kind of tone where you just think like, you know what, I wouldn't take this from anyone else. I don't know why, just because you raised me, I have to sort of be trodden on a little bit, or family members, just because you knew me when I was young, why I'm going to sort of take it.
I would put it on your parents a little bit first, though. I would give them a chance to put it right and just say, listen, I'm here because I'm trying to help you, but I can't deal with this. So they're your friends. You need to say something to them,
if
or I
everyone's
will.
Going to treat me like shit.
You say something to them, or I will. Like,
protect yourself, create a little barrier, and if that gets broken, then you know something's up, and you got to sort of put your foot down. But again, it's not forever. No. So we wish you all the best, Len. Hit me with your next, Len.
This is a very nice opening. Hello, you beautiful goddesses.
Not wrong, by the way.
The issue I have is... Okay, we're going straight to the point. The issue I have is my niece wasting my products.
What?
My brother-in-law recently got a divorce from his cheating wife and is now staying with me and my husband until he can get back on his feet.
Wait, hang on a second. My brother-in-law broke up with his cheating wife, which wouldn't that make this person's sister?
No. So this could be his husband's brother, her husband's brother.
Her husband's brother, okay. Broke up with cheating wife, got it?
That's why.
I'm up to speed.
That's why there's a niece.
I'm up to speed. There's a niece involved.
Yes.
Stealing products.
Which means my niece comes and stays with us from time to time. I adore her so much. However, she tends to play with a lot of my products. She's broken several of my lipsticks. She has dumped out a whole bottle of my conditioner and replaced it with water. I've recently caught her mixing my powdered dry shampoo down and toothpaste. There might be a typo there. Then throwing it down the sink. I've tried telling her that she shouldn't be playing with my things because they aren't hers, but I'm met with a smile and a simple, okay, auntie. Now, me and my brother-in-law don't get along very well because he has an ego the size of a football stadium. Every time I tell him what she did, he just blows it off. He doesn't even offer to replace the products I've lost. What should I do? P.S. Sorry for the long story.
Well, it sounds like if he is not willing to parent this child, which it sounds like he's not, then you're going to have to do it for him.
This is your brother-in-law, so this must be your husband's brother You need to have a word with your husband.
Is your husband not stepping in either? This is some bullshit. She's wasting all of your lipstick and was it shampoo or conditioner, whatever it was? She's wasting all this shit and no one is doing anything about it. It's so weird.
So what should happen is there should be some parenting going on of this little girl.
You'd like to know how
and
old.
I think your husband should be speaking to your brother-in-law and saying, what the fuck? These products are expensive. This is probably why your wife left you in the first place. Like,
you should go up to her and go, what the fuck? That's so rude, just order your own. Can you imagine if this niece is like 24? We don't know the age.
We don't know the age.
So presumably, though, she's like a toddler or something.
Unsure.
Well, hang on, but
so
how
it
is
sounds like
she...
there's split custody because she's staying with him from time to time. So it sounds like she's going to the ex-wife and then coming back to the brother-in-law. Like, it sounds like she's spending her time between them.
I think that on a very get-out-of-jail-free card petty situation, you could just lock... Couldn't you put a lock on the door?
This was going to be my next thing. You shouldn't have to.
You shouldn't have to.
But you know when this girl is coming around. You know when your niece is coming around. I think anything you care about needs to go into a locked drawer. I think any products in the bathroom need to be out of reach. I think you shouldn't have to do this, but you can. If no one else is going to fucking pick up their weight and make this right for you, you do have the power to do this.
Yeah, also, I wonder if there's a little bit of... that you love them so much, you don't want them to dislike you, this child, or be fearful of you. So
well, then if you take away the option...
but you're not as much of a disciplinarian as you should be. But it sounds like no one is.
It's your niece, it's not your child, so I understand that's tricky.
Yeah, because like you might assume in your mind that like a parent has to discipline their child, but the child's still going to love them kind of anyway because it's their parent and there's no choice. But like an aunt, you might think that the kid is like, oh, I'm freaked out by my aunt. She's so mean and scary. I'm not going to bother. So maybe that's why you're not as harsh as you could be. But honestly, I would give her an absolute bollocking, this kid. I'd be like, that is naughty.
And if the father comes in and says, why are you shouting at my child? Because I've told you.
You do it then.
A million times. This is very expensive stuff that she's just poured down the drain.
Yeah.
But
oh my God.
If that really isn't going to happen, then lock the products away when she comes around.
What you should do is get some of the brother-in-law's products and give it to the girl and be like, pour it down the drain if you want.
The brother-in-law's not going to have any cosmetic products.
Cologne?
He's not going to have anything worth anything.
Well, then do it to the brother. Do it to your husband. Tell her to go and get your husband's expensive cologne.
Straight men don't understand.
Pour it all over the
that
bathroom.
Actually shampoo can be real expensive.
They might have cologne, and then you'll be like, oh my God, Dave, she's poured all your cologne down the sink.
Just literally pass it to her. Be like, oh, look at this.
Oh my God, I can't believe it. If only someone had done something about it when it would have made a difference, then you wouldn't have lost all of your disgusting Lacoste cologne.
I think the problem is I imagine your stuff is worth a lot more money.
There's so many different... This is interesting because there's so many different ways of doing it.
I just think if you have to protect your peace, you shouldn't have to, but just lock it away.
It's such horseshit that both your husband and his brother, your brother-in-law, do not see your concerns and your frustrations as valid because they're just brushing you off. That would fuck me off no end.
Yeah.
So I would... What would be... If it was me... I would shout at the girl. I would be like, you cannot do this. This is wrong. It's naughty. You just wasted. You wouldn't like it if I came and I poured all of your... What do kids have? Your L'Oreal No Tears shampoo or your cherry cola, whatever kids drink. I don't know. You wouldn't like it, would you? How would you like that? Make her cry.
Just say, this is very, very precious to me and you've wasted it. So this is very, very... This means a lot to me. This is very, very precious, and you've wasted it, and that's made me very upset.
You've made me upset. See if she does it again. I would... The kind of... I feel like the greater importance here is not necessarily getting the point across to the kid, which obviously is the end goal, but getting the point across to her dad and your husband or your partner.
He sounds like a dick, though, from the way you described him.
Because they don't... It sounds like he's not parenting this girl correctly at all. So the point... does need to get across to the girl, but more importantly to him, because he's the one who's going to be disciplining her in the future. So,
also, this is your brother-in-law, and you don't like him.
You don't like him.
So I think you need to have a conversation with your husband to be like, this is not forever, because this is your home as well. So what's the plan here? What's the game plan? How long is he staying for? Is he going to stay somewhere else? When is he leaving? That can't stay forever.
No.
This is your home as well as his. I think that conversation needs to happen. And then you might feel
So
a bit
annoying.
better that at least this is really awful, but you have a date on the calendar for when they're moving out.
Oh, no, honestly, I'm so annoyed by this. I'm so annoyed because as a little girl, we probably all did the same thing. We probably all did it. Go through your parents' shit and pour all their stuff everywhere. If you're a
My
child
parents
and
never had anything that
and a
was expensive
toddler,
enough.
Nova, this is not about you, boo-hoo. Your childhood was terrible. It's not about you, Nova, is it?
But anything that you care about, I think just put
You
elsewhere.
could just that should not be the thing. But if there is some concern about, oh my god, I'm annoyed at having to buy more shit. First of all, yeah, just lock it away. But then I actually think I would, if it's at all possible that there's any product of his lying around or your husband, let her go through that and fuck that up and then be like, well, I did tell you, but you didn't want to listen when it had nothing to do with you. Now that it has something to do with you, maybe you'll pull your finger out of your ass and actually discipline this child. Very interesting. I'd really like a follow-up on this.
If she likes playing with makeup, maybe buy her some kids' makeup.
Oh, that's a very good way of putting it.
That is cheap.
Yeah, that's
I
very
don't
good.
know if she's just getting into your makeup and actually we're trying to discourage this.
Hard to know.
And if it's keeping her quiet, if we don't mind the fact that she's putting makeup on, maybe buy her some stuff of her own. Then she has her own.
I'd love to know how old this child is. That's really baffling to me. Not that I get much of an answer because I don't really know about kids' ages, but there's such a stark difference between 3 and 10. Do you know what I mean?
And they can't be that old if they're dumping out an entire bottle of conditioner and replacing it with water. That's not something that a tween does. That's something a child does.
But if they're that young that they're
I feel like
doing
girls
that,
get to an age where actually they also covet hair care
how
products
old?
as well.
When do you let kids just wander around the house on their own? Is there a point where you'd Oh, I don't know. That's interesting, isn't it? We were speaking with Kat yesterday, weren't we? And she was like, "Do you remember when there's a good 5 years of your life as a child is shouting for a parent to come and wipe your ass?" How do parents do it? Why would... Yeah, what? And then you have to just make sure they don't go through all your shit and pour all your shampoo everywhere.
It's not worth it.
It's not
Just
worth...
don't do it.
Don't know. Very strange. There's a few options you've got there.
Yeah, I think you do have options.
You need to let the guy know.
You've
Tell
put
him.
at the end, P.S. Sorry for the long story. Honey, this is one of the shortest ones we've had.
Oh, Nova, we should move on to the next line. Well, good luck with that. Please let us know what happens.
Yes, good luck. Okay, this is a longer one.
Oh.
Dearest Novympia, I'd like to start the submission off by saying I'm a huge fan of the channel and I have you to thank for getting me through the worst 4 years of my life thus far, high school. Based on the great advice you've given other people so far on the podcast, thanks, I figured it's definitely worth a shot writing to you today about something that's been going on for the last few months.
Oh, keep your expectations low.
At the time of writing this email to the two of you, I'm dealing with a tricky situation regarding my current living situation. Although I love my parents very much, I'm under the impression that they're using technicalities to absolutely take over my life.
This individual is in high school. Is that what you said at the beginning?
Getting me through the worst 4 years of my life thus far, high school. Yes, okay. Well, they're saying here.
But they haven't said their age, though. I'm just trying to...
Hang on. I'm literally about to say.
Picture it in my head, okay.
For a bit of context,
Okay.
I have just recently graduated high school this June. I haven't applied to any universities or schools since it's way too expensive. I also haven't had a real job in a little over 2 years because my anxiety has gotten progressively worse in recent times, hyperventilating in the bathroom, crying on the job, etc. My parents also played a big part in my unemployment because they believed that my only job was being a student and that I didn't need money, but their way of thinking completely shifted after I graduated. Even though I'm a legal adult in the state of Massachusetts, I'm still being controlled and micromanaged as if I was a child. For example, our last trip to the beach was a bit frustrating. Not only did my mother make a rude comment about my body, she also made a huge deal about a shark in the water and demanded I get back onto the sand in a tone that can only be described as one that an adult uses when scolding a child. When we go to the beach, I usually go on a nice walk along the shore, either by myself or with my older sister. It was just me and my parents that day, so I tried to do my own thing and take my walk as normal. Neither of my parents really left me alone, sort of following me the entire time. It honestly made me feel like I was 9 years old again, beyond mortifying. It's been little things like, along with the whole my house, my rules vibe they've been laying down, which makes me want to get the fuck out of here. I've been trying to find sneaky ways of making money from home online without anyone knowing. I'm literally considering anything I can do online for money, while of course keeping my family from finding out. The reasoning behind my thinking is that if I start making my own money without telling my parents, I'll at least have full control over that small part of my life. Plus, I've been flirting with the idea of saving up the money, finding an apartment, finding a roommate, and moving out as soon as possible. My question for the two of you is, how should I approach this? Does my plan sound at all realistic? I would like to know if I'm just being delusional or if I have even the slightest chance of pulling this off. What's a gal to do in a situation like mine? Lots of love, your desperate pink friend.
Leonard. Okay, I just need to rewind a little bit. So, why is Leonard secretly earning money online rather than just going out and getting a job? What was that about?
They are suffering with anxiety at the moment.
Oh, okay, got you.
It sounds like they've worked previously and their anxiety has stopped them working.
Okay, got you. So...
Because to me, that's key.
Yeah.
To me, I think it's all great trying to save money to get an apartment. I think you need to save money to try and address your anxiety. I think that's the key. That's the root of all of this, because you need to work. You need a job. You need a job. And if it's your anxiety pulling you back, we need to find a way to address this, and we need to try and find a way to minimise that and to handle that better.
I mean, there are for sure ways you can earn money from home. I mean, a lot of people work from home. A lot of people that we know that we're friends with, they don't go to an office or go to a shop or anything. They all work from home. So it's perfectly feasible lifestyle and goal is to have a job where you don't have to deal with people and or so, at least face to face.
Yes. Why are we keeping this a secret from your?
Why is that a
your
secret?
Parents that you're actively trying to seek employment online, working from home?
Because I guess they'll take money, will they? They'll ask for rent and stuff.
Well, then they ask for rent. That's just part of being an adult. They ask for rent.
But I feel like Leonard is saying that if they don't, if they're not aware of the stream of income, it will be faster that they can then move out.
Okay, but that's not how real life works, and that's not fair. Like, if you're asked to pay rent, you have to pay rent.
Well, yeah, yes and no, possibly, but we don't really know. I mean, that's fairly detailed, but we don't entirely know what the sort of dynamic is, other than they're quite intense.
It sounds like they really like having you at home and they're trying to really infantilize you.
Didn't we say this? When did we bring this up? Was it not like 10 minutes ago? Like, it doesn't matter how old you are are always a child to your parent. That never changes. My mother is a nightmare. If I go and visit my mother and I make breakfast for us, for example, and I'll fry an egg, she will
hover over your shoulder. Oh, too much salt. Why is there so much oil in the pan?
And she'll be like, "Oh, are you doing it like that?" And I'll be like, I'll literally turn around and I'll grab her arm and I'll say, "Mother, I am 33 years old. If I did not know how to look after myself, I would be dead because I don't live here with you. So when I'm at home, what do you think I'm doing? I'm doing all this shit. Like, leave me alone." But part of them is because it's super protective. Part of them is because they really like it. And it might be scary to them, the idea that you're going to fly the nest. So it's difficult to know quite what the dynamic is without being inside your head or without being there.
It sounds like they've been trying to keep you at home for as long as possible for a while, if they really dissuaded you from working during your studies because they were happy to pay for everything whilst you were studying.
Yeah.
Because now you're in a position, like you said, where now actually they are expecting... It said that their thinking completely shifted after you graduated. So that implies to me that actually they are expecting some contribution towards the monthly outgoings. So I still don't understand why you're keeping the idea of getting employment from them. You can have a secret savings account for sure. They didn't need to know how much you're earning, but
it sounds to me like Leonard wants to leave like yesterday, and you get to this very weird kind of grey area when you are about 18, 19, we're assuming they are. Legal adult in Massachusetts. Was it Massachusetts?
They've graduated university.
Oh, they'll be 21 then. 21 in America, right? Legal age 21.
Oh, yeah, 21. Yeah.
21. So, I mean, when I was 18, I felt like this. It felt like it's my house, it's my rules. When you live under my roof, you've got to abide by my rules. Well, absolutely, of course, it's their house, so you have to do all the shit they say because you live with them. It's their house, they own it. And it's only the same if you then go on to rent a property. You have to rent there and live there under the rules given by whoever owns it. I mean, that doesn't change wherever you are. So the my house, my roof, my rules thing, unfortunately, you just have to kind of stick that.
Yeah.
That's why when I was 18, I left for uni, and it was everything in me to not go back to that house. I love my parents. I couldn't live with them because I could not deal with that pressure of having a constant eye on me. Tell me what to do. Come back by this hour. What the fuck is that? I'm sorry. I'm not dealing with that. I'm checking out. I'd rather live in a shed somewhere than have to put up with that. So it's not unrealistic. What was the final question, essentially?
Am I being delusional? Do other scientists try to pulling this off? How should I approach this? I think, first of all, absolutely try and get some sort of employment where you can work from home. Not just little odd jobs. I think you need some kind of employment, whether it's only like a part-time job or something that's a steady source of income, whatever that may be. But before having these goals of moving out, you need to treat this anxiety, because if you want to have a sustainable independence away from this living situation, it's not going to happen if your anxiety is as severe as you've described. That really needs to be treated, and you need to look at that first. And I think that's where your money needs to go first, because then with those skills,
it's a bit of a catch.
You can be sustainably independent.
Bit of a catch-22, but a lot of your anxiety could be caused by your parents, living at home with your parents.
For sure.
So moving away from them naturally might alleviate a lot of that.
But it's got to be hand in hand. I think if you went cold turkey, just from the way you've described, and you've only described it in a couple of sentences, I would be concerned that you might end up falling back in with your parents again, and that wouldn't be good for you.
Well, because honestly, you can't move out and then be able to sustain living somewhere and paying rent if all of your income is kind of what you would essentially see as like a side hustle, is like all these little online things where money comes in. If it's like a main source of income,
you need a job.
If you save up and up and up and move out, well, then how are you going to pay the rent after that? You have to have something much more stable in place for it to work. But it sounds like your moving out is absolutely paramount at this point.
Yeah. But you want to do it once. You want to move out, and you want to stay moved out.
So you want to do it once.
Your mental health needs to be in a position where you are able to do that, and you're able to stay away.
And it's a tricky one, because I mean, if therapy is not an option in terms of from a monetary point of view,
well, anxiety as well is often not just therapy. It's medication and treatment, and you need to speak to a doctor. And I understand in America that costs money. I don't know if you're not employed. I don't know what you're probably on a family insurance plan, so that's also a tie.
There could be like a financial strain on that one. But I wonder if the idea and the concept of speaking to your parents and saying exactly how you feel about this is just so off the table, it's nothing you would even consider. Because if it's so off the table and you're like, oh, I'm absolutely not doing that.
Where's your older sister in all this?
Then it's probably that's where your anxiety comes from, is them. Where's your older sister in all this?
You've only briefly mentioned that you have an older sister. Where does she fall into all of this?
Did she leave? Did she get out? And then did it get worse when she left because you were the only one?
Can she help?
Can she have a word with them, maybe? That might be a thing to do, is just reach out and be like, can you tell them to put the brakes on a little bit, because it's really intense and really a lot. But the whole secret side thing, I won't lie, that's probably how I would have approached it. I think that's certainly the way that a lot of people would approach it, because it's sort of then it's all to do with you. You don't really have to address anything. You can just sort of get some money and then get out of there. I just don't know if that plan's feasible if you've thought that through, because you can't sustain that, really, can you? And it starts with, like Nova said, addressing why you can't get a job. That's what you need to try and figure out. Is, great if you can work from home, but there will be some things you need to figure out.
Because I wonder if the anxiety as well is something that they're using as a reason to infantilize you.
Yeah.
I wonder if you are able to actually get a proper job again, that maybe they might see that actually you are capable of independence. Maybe they'll back off a little bit.
And then they'll be like, oh, maybe it's time for you to leave.
Maybe.
Tricky. That's a hard. Listen, it's a hard one. We're not gonna lie. It's difficult, and it will be a bit bumpy.
I just think you need to incorporate getting a proper hold of your anxiety and mental health into your plans, and that needs to be maybe a first priority.
There's going to have to be some conversations with your parents, though. However awkward and sweaty that is. If it's, it doesn't even need to be like, I'm going to sit you guys down. I have something to tell you guys, and then present them with a PowerPoint presentation. But at some point, maybe just
a broad conversation. Like, I'm an adult. What am I doing?
You please just not baby me so much. This is starting to really irk me now. If you're not overstepping, if you're not having wild parties, if you're not, doing like a line like on the dining table or something, if you're not overstepping, there should be no reason really to then be like, I think that's a bit much.
But
I'm following your rules.
Can you imagine living with your parents now?
Space? No.
They would behave like this. They just do. It's nightmare. Yeah. It's not sustainable. But it's not a feasible way of living.
That's what I mean. If you're like, can you please give me some space and stop babying me? They then can't be like, well, it's our house, our rules. If you're still abiding by all the rules,
but they could still be just arsey and shitty towards you.
You're afforded some space. Yeah, tricky. I
don't think it's worth trying to make this living situation work for you, because it's not working. It's never going to. I think we need.
It's not necessarily about making it work. I think it's about making the parents aware of how you're feeling, because having that kind of saying no to them might then alleviate a lot of the stresses that you have. Tricky one, very tricky, Leonard. Very, very difficult. I think you got to get out of that house, though. Yeah, everyone does. No one can live with their parents forever, apart from Charmaine, apparently. Nightmare there.
Maybe just speak to your parents about wanting to go back to the doctor and reassess your anxiety so you can get a job again. Say that you want to be employed again, but you don't feel like you're quite there yet. So can we do something about it?
Can we do something about it? Because I can't just stay here forever and just loll around.
It will be easier to include them on this rather than keeping secrets on them. It will be so much easier.
I think there are yours is a problem shared by millions of people, though. Who moving out is increasingly difficult to do.
Yes,
because shit is so expensive. People are living at home longer and longer and longer. And I just don't think you're designed to live with your parents that long.
I just want to be really realistic as well. The way you're describing your last employment and you're talking about finding a roommate, I can't see that happening for you at the moment. I just can't. And I would hate for you to put yourself in this situation where you are then fucked because you've got this contract on an apartment with somebody you don't know and you spiral.
Yeah.
That's a horrendous.
Yeah,
that's a horrendous place to be.
You need more in your arsenal first before you can leave.
Yeah,
but I don't think it'll take much. I think you'll get there. And we're sending you all of our best wishes.
Completely capable.
You can do it.
Possible.
You got it.
But I think slow down.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Often?
Yeah.
How many times today?
Oh, at least 17.
At least. Okay.
I've lots of thinks.
Will you have a think later on?
Yes.
Do you think?
Yeah.
When you're doing dinner?
Yeah.
You're doing it?
Yeah.
Because I've got work to do today.
I'll have a think.
Okay. Will you tell me what you're thinking about?
No.
Will you write me apart?
No.
Okay. Are we at the final Leonard already?
We are. This one I think is...
Oh, no.
Why... Like, I don't know. I read this, like, with my mouth open.
Oh, that's because you're so gormless. Go on.
Hello, girls. I have an odd predicament. I've recently found out my stepsister secretly got married.
What? The things you could have said, I would never have guessed that. Her stepsister secretly got married.
She doesn't know that I know, and I'm not sure if/how to approach it. My stepsister and I are pretty close, I thought at least, and she's had a tumultuous on-off relationship with a guy for almost a decade, who I'm not a fan of because of how he's often broken her heart. Last year, she announced they were engaged and pregnant. I thought the good sisterly thing to do was smile and congratulate her and never say anything negative about the turd she was with again. I understand that.
So she knew they've
got a baby there. It's not changing, is it? So, like,
it's going to happen.
Don't make it worse.
And she knew they were engaged.
Yes.
Okay, that was going to be one of my questions.
Fast forward to her baby shower that she enlisted me to help host, and my friend and I were put on camera duty and my dad's DSLR. Being an old man, my dad never clears his memory card, so we were having to delete old man pictures off the memory cards to make space for pictures from the shower. In the course of this, we found the pictures of my sister's wedding 6 months prior. My dad, her mom, and the family dog were in attendance with the groom's mother. I was a bit shell-shocked, as she had mentioned plans for her wedding over the past few months, and none of them included the fact that she was already married. I'm really torn about this and don't know how to address it. On the one hand, my logical side says they likely wanted to get married before the baby arrived, which is fine, and they still want to have a big wedding later, which is also fine. Maybe they only wanted to keep it small. They only wanted the parents there, also understandable. Where I get stuck is them not telling me about it. My sister has a long-running habit of not telling me about big changes in her life. Job changes, long vacations where she will be out of the country for months, moving, relationships, etc. I don't think it's anything to do with me being judgmental, because I'm not. And as much as I dislike her secret husband, I've only ever said negative things about him once, when they were broken up, and she specifically asked for my opinion. Even then, I kept it more to the issue of how she was being treated. She grew up as an only child until our parents got married when we were 16, whereas I already had 2 other siblings. Her family is also quite nosy and likes to gossip, but excluding me makes me feel like I don't make the inner circle cut, but the dog does, in brackets. And also comes with the awkward knowledge that my dad has also been keeping this from me. When I've confronted her about not telling me things, she has 2 tactics. The first, to pretend she did tell me, or that she must have forgotten. The second being to flip it on me and accuse me of not caring about her life. Really, if someone historically chooses not to tell you things, you start to feel like they don't want you to know. Several months have passed since I found out, and I haven't yet addressed it. What would you do? The way I found out felt like it was out of a movie or something. The dramatic in me can't help but want to reveal that I found out and how. But part of me worries it would justify their choice in not telling me in the first place. Love you both. Interested to hear your opinions on this. Leonardra.
What? Leonardra? I'm so annoyed by this one.
This
Why
is
have you not just asked her?
outrageous.
Ask her. Is there not a chance it was like the legal one that people have before the real one?
This is what she's saying, but that's also really strange to not even mention it.
What? You have to ask her. We can't.
I would just say, so when you get married then?
I would have just been
Did she be like...
I would have just been like, what are these wedding pictures? What is this weird wedding you've had? Just ask.
Well, I think too much time has passed now to do that.
I just don't understand why you wouldn't have asked immediately.
I would just say, because this has been several months again, so this has been, I would say, nearly a year now that they've been engaged. Be like, so this is a long engagement. When's the wedding? When's the date? What's the date? Because if she's spoken to you about wedding plans before, just bring it up and see what she says.
Well, do you know what you could do? Ask her and be like, are you, you guys are getting married. Are you going to have a legal signing of a registry or whatever? Are you having that first, or is it all going to be just one big wedding? Because if she then says, oh, it's going to be one big wedding, you'd be like, okay, so what was that wedding that you already had? What the fuck was that? Because then she's just flat out lying. If because you're giving her an opportunity to then be like, oh, we had that registry thing. It was just me and my mom or whatever it was and his mom. And we just did it in the garden or whatever, just for some pictures, just so that we could be married before the baby arrives. Because it was a shotgun thing, right?
Yeah, it sounds like
it sounds like she got pregnant, which, by the way, I find it thoroughly fucking embarrassing that in 2024 people would still have shotgun weddings. I think it's the most embarrassing.
It does make a few things easier legally.
Does it?
If they have the same surname, the baby has the same surname, the family name, it's just as far as IDs and stuff, it does have some benefits.
Do you really think people are doing it for that reason?
Obviously, people have children out of wedlock all the fucking time, so it's not like it's unprecedented.
It's so ridiculous. I think people are doing it because they don't want to be seen to be having a child before they're married, which is so embarrassing. That's, I guess, why she's done it. And you need to I think you should do that. Bring up a conversation casually.
I think just ask when she's getting married.
And say, so what's the deal with your wedding? And then, but then if she's like, oh, I don't know, yeah, whatever, then you could be like, are you not having like the little are you having a pre-one where you sign the actual thing? Because then if you do the massive separate one, some people do like 2, don't they? If you
it could very well be that she's had that and that's what it was, and she doesn't really consider it to be that important.
That gives her an opportunity then, because if she says, oh, I don't know, or oh, we're only going to do the one, she's lying. And that's when you can be like, right, this is so weird now. Why are you lying? Why are you lying? Is it coercive control on the part of the husband?
Why the hell you lying?
Or why can't you just ask like your parents? Why can't you ask someone who was at this wedding? Ask one of them and be like, if you want to skirt around the issue.
Don't fucking keep this to yourself. This is absolutely outrageous. Ask someone.
I get why you didn't do it at the shower.
It doesn't have to be a big deal. Let's lower the dramatics. Because I know you said that you have that in you. Because it might not be a big deal.
I can't deal with this.
But ask someone. It's perfectly normal. At the very least, just ask your sister when she's getting married. Bring up wedding talk again. If she used to talk about wedding plans and maybe that stopped, bring it up. You can bring that up because it's a fun thing to talk about to your sister about. Be like, so, have you looked at dresses? Do you have venues? Do you have an idea for the date yet? Bring it up. And then you'll quickly find out.
I wonder if, like, it was at the wedding, it was at the baby shower, right? When you saw these pictures. And you didn't mention it then, because obviously that's awkward if there's, like, friends there and you don't want to make it a big deal, so you sit on it. Then maybe a couple of days go by. And then, of course, that's when you start to think things go around your head and then you start to then it becomes this weird thing. And, oh, do I touch it? Do I not touch it? You don't know how to bring it up. Touch it.
Touch it.
Crack. That's when you don't bring it up, and now it's snowballed into this big bloody thing. But honestly, I would have brought it up the next day. Sorry, that was my sandwich. It was a really good sandwich, bit dry, but it was lovely. So I find it strange that you've not brought this up. Because why have you not brought it up? Because you don't want to cause an argument? But what's the argument really going to be about?
That she often doesn't tell you important things. So I feel like, although to us this is something that you should tell your stepsister, if to her this is just a legal thing and there's going to be a bigger ceremony, it might not actually register as important to her at all. To a normal person, they still got married, you still could have been there, you still could have been told about it, but it might not be that important to her at all, because you said before she keeps things from you. So it just doesn't. I would just be casual about it. It doesn't have to be.
You can be casual.
It's not a big drama unless it's a big drama.
You can catch her out. Like, you can get your answer without really asking anything, in terms of just being like, when are you going to get married? Are you going to do the 2 or just the 1?
Yeah. At the moment, there's no drama. If there is drama, then you'd be right in your element, and that's when you can throw the glass.
Oh, you know what, Leonard? Just be glad you weren't invited to another wedding. Weddings. Oh, for every wedding I'm not invited to, I am overjoyed. Yeah. Do we have any weddings coming up?
No.
Thank God, by the way. It got real dicey for a minute with wedding stuff. Weddings.
We don't have any weddings coming
up. Travel and get a whole bloody thing, and then it's so you have to go in on a bed sheet.
I quite like a wedding.
No, for her. Charlotte. We don't do cutaways for the podcast, so I'll provide the cutaways myself.
Right, okay.
I think it's so strange you haven't asked. I'd ask.
Yeah.
But then, again, I said this earlier on, a lot of people are not good with confrontation, trying to avoid it, don't want to do it, which is understandable.
Have to be confrontation. If it's confrontation, it's all on her. It's not on you. You are completely innocent in this.
Yeah, but sometimes my family are a bit like this on my mother's side. It's even if there's something, fractionally awkward or strange.
It's very British to dance around it.
British to dance around it, which may have conceivably been awkward in like the 50s. But nowadays, if something comes up where it's like someone has a lesbian friend, and my mother will be like, she's a lesbian. And you'll be like, she's a lesbian. She's a lesbian. She didn't say they're going for.
I've never been a lesbian.
They're not going for a box lunch at the Y. Lesbian. You can say lesbian. It's not that big a deal, or just whatever it is. And people, and my mum's always like, okay, all right, okay. But you just think like, what are we all doing here? What are we doing? Ask her. You got to ask her. Do you want to go for a box lunch at the Y?
Sure.
Yeah. It doesn't. I'm so annoyed. I'd like you to find out that information immediately. How can you sit on that?
Could you please...
It could be nothing. It could be nothing.
Could you please let us know if you do find out more? I would like a follow-up on this.
Was it
Leonardra?
Leonardra. It could be nothing. And you have just wasted 6 months with this going around in your mind.
Yeah.
Maybe the stepsister is just so chill that she's like, oh, God, you know what? If you want me to put on a dress and go stand in this garden or whatever with our parents and take a picture, I'll do it.
But equally, if there is something more to this, for whatever reason, something that you're not aware of, you need to know, and you need to have your time to voice your opinions and to respond to being treated in this way.
I'd bring it up around my parents because, again, maybe it's a case of all the parents think that you're aware of it and have just never spoken about it because it's like, it was one little afternoon.
Yeah,
it was
bring
a
that up in
legal
front of
thing.
everyone. So
Bring it up.
What's the latest with the wedding then?
Bring it up and just
People might be like, what do you mean?
If people clam up and go weird, that's when you're like, why don't you want me to know about this? Why didn't you want me there, kind of thing? Because surely if they were like, listen, we're going to get married legally, it's not the real wedding, and it's only parents, I'd be like, peace, love that, excellent, do what you got to do. I could not give a fat fuck.
Yeah.
That's the attitude you certainly should have.
Yeah.
But then maybe they were just worried that you'd be like all weird about it, which maybe you are. Ask someone. Just ask someone.
Yeah.
And then you'll find out. You'll find out what the answer is. Maybe you do just take things to heart a little bit. Hard to know.
I would like a follow-up.
I'd like a follow-up because a lot of the Leonards will send us stuff and I could have done with a few more details. Like if that one ended with P.S. I'm a bit crazy, then you would know, wouldn't you? But you've got to ask someone. Ask someone. I would have done it the next day. I would have been like, what was that about? What was that wedding about? Was that the legal one or what's that? Was it only parents? You looked nice, but you would have looked nicer if you told me and I would have helped you out, but you didn't. So then,
if you're watching on YouTube, apologies for the last 20 minutes. We were not aware that the camera memory card has filled up. So if you're listening on Spotify, you have no idea.
No idea.
Lovely experience. Lovely listening experience.
Oh, well, you've just plugged that you can listen to this on Spotify. That's lovely.
And other streaming platforms.
Wherever you get your podcasts. But yeah, you're never too far into the game to make basic rookie errors, are you?
And you know what? We could have refilmed that, but it wouldn't have been the great, really heartfelt advice that we gave the first time around.
I feel like
also, we wouldn't have been able to remember what we said.
Yeah, I feel like once you've had the reaction, that was the genuine reaction. And that last one was a bit different because it was quite, I don't know, intense, but irksome, I think, a little bit
I think
as
you
well.
were particularly infuriated.
Yeah, I had so many questions. I don't know. Maybe I wasn't quite getting it or something, but I would like a follow-up to that one, please. Leonard, I can't even get it right.
Leonardra,
all the best.
God, families though.
Yeah, there we go. There was a lot of tricky
things.
Our next episode, Nova, am I right in thinking, is the spooky Halloween episode?
Yes. I'm not asking for more submissions.
No, we've got too many.
Because we literally only asked on Patreon. It was publicly on Patreon, so it's not only for patrons, but we asked on Patreon and we asked on our Patreon Discord, and we have been inundated with submissions. You could probably do a whole series just on that topic alone. I'm yet to go through them all. I haven't gone through them all.
Which proves that ghosts must exist. No, because everyone's experienced them or something. I don't know. Hopefully there'll be something there, and that's going to serve as sort of the last episode of our first batch. But we are going to come back once more for the first season. Nova got picked up. And have some follow-up conversations with all the Leonards.
Yes, I'm going to start working my way through a few, asking... some people have replied to us and given us updates. I'm asking permission to share that. Mm-hmm. Or just people that we haven't heard back from that we really want to. I'm going to start reaching out.
Yeah, we're going to revisit a few of them.
So that'll be like a little bonus episode.
Yeah, and see what the follow-ups are. If they listened to our advice. If they listened and then it all went tits up because it was bad advice. Thank you. If you would otherwise like to write in with your queries and quandaries, just anything really that's on your mind, then you can do that by sending an email to novympia@gmail.com with the subject Absolute Agony.
Yes, I'm fairly certain there's going to be a season 2 of this.
We're going to do it again.
When it will be, I don't know. But I think we will take a little bit of a break after the 7th episode.
Yeah. And we'll probably leave it there, won't we? So if you're just listening and you want to sort of catch more of us, then head over to the YouTube. Novympia on YouTube.
We're Novympia everywhere.
Lots of great stuff over there.
If you want our social media, just Google Novympia. You'll find us about the place. Novympia.com.
No, you're not going to make notes now, are you? So you have to do some searching for you. This is where you need to do some work now. Instead of all the whinge, and they whinge.
Also, please, if you're listening to us on the podcast platform, give us a little like and a comment if you're able to.
There's lots of 5 stars, which I think is very, very sweet.
Yeah.
We should probably have a couple of 4 just to make it look more realistic.
On Spotify, you can leave comments, and we've not had too many comments on Spotify, so leave us a comment. I do read them.
Oh, please, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? A few comments, I'll leave one.
And sorry to our YouTube followers who were like, just
some audio then for a minute.
Yeah.
You don't mind.
Nah.
You're used to all of our shout. All right, well, we're signing off then. We'll speak to you next time.
Yes.
Ta-ra.
Goodbye. And a huge welcome to our newest patrons, Ren, Pugsy Top, Gretchen Baker, and Matthew David Andrews. It's a new day.
Hit me with your best, Leonard. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. It's a new life.
Join the Patron, we'll do a shot of Patron.